So today we came to look at a new invasive species to Louisiana and the impact it's having to our coastal wetlands. Specifically, we have a new scale from Asia that's never been found in Louisiana before, and it's attacking Roseau cane, which is the dominant vegetation of the Mississippi River birdfoot delta. And it appears that this scale and possibly some other elements are killing the Roseau cane, which is kind of the linchpin for the wetlands of the birdfoot delta where we are today. So what we've discovered is large landscape die-offs of Roseau cane. We're talking in the hundreds of acres in some areas and even a few thousand acres in other locations of the delta. And where we're seeing these die-offs, we have the Roseau cane scale that's present. So it certainly seems that if the Roseau cane scale itself is not directly the culprit, it's at least contributing to a lot of the die-offs of this Roseau cane. It looks like a fish scale. I mean, it's a tiny little thing. The biggest they get is about the size of your fingernail on your pinky. So that's its biggest. When it hatches, there are these little crawlers, which is truly an insect. It crawls around the plant. It's hard to see. You have to have magnification to see the crawlers, and they crawl down behind the leaves of the Roseau cane against the stem, and they form a waxy base around themselves and attach to the Roseau cane and begin to suck the sap out of the cane. And when it gets to that stage of its life, it literally looks like a small fish scale, white in color, but as it gets older it turns brown. So healthy Roseau cane, especially this time of year in the peak of the growing season, spring moving into summer, is very thick, very 10 to 12 foot tall and dark green, at least for the top 2/3 of the plant. And so what we're seeing in areas where we have this infestation is we're seeing that the Roseau cane looks like a winter landscape. A lot of it is pretty leafless, or there's very few leaves on it anymore. It's brown or tan in color. And in real severe cases, the only thing you have standing is a single stalk with no leaves at all. So that's an indication that there's been an infestation in that area and we're having a big die-off. So the effects are quite diverse. In some areas we're just seeing a thinning of cane, and some areas we're seeing a complete elimination of the Roseau cane. So it's varied across the landscape. In some places it's taking out hundreds of acres at a time, and some places it's just taking out a corner. So it's really varied. But one of the characteristics that we definitely are seeing is it seems like the edge of the Roseau cane of the islands or the pass banks seem to be healthier than the Roseau cane more interior of it. It seems to be getting worse on the interior, but the stuff on the edge really seems to appear at least in pretty decent shape. And so when you're in a boat and you're traveling down the bayous of the birdfoot delta, it's really difficult to see the full impacts. To really see it, you need to get up in the air, out in an airboat, to really get into the shallow water areas, to get into the heart of those Roseau cane islands. You can see a lot of them are, quite frankly, just gone. So the plan right now is we're working with LSU to identify what exactly is killing the Roseau cane. We know scale is present, but there may be several factors. So we need to identify what the problem is, and we're working closely with Ag and Forestry, with LSU, to monitor this, to do experiments to find out, number one, what can we do to kill the scale? What can we do to kill the scale in a wetland environment? What truly is happening to the Roseau cane, and really answer the question, what, if anything, is going to come back in its place? The Roseau cane is a very resilient plant. It's almost a woody stem. It's very stiff. It has a very deep and wide root base that does a very good job of trapping sediments. It holds up very well to wave energy. It's perhaps one of our best vegetations along the coast to resist a lot of wind-driven wave energy. And that's the dominant habitat type of the delta. So as we lose that, we lose our ability to fight a lot of the erosion process in this area. So those stems, that Roseau cane, puts out a very robust root that really traps sediment and really resists erosion quite well. And what we're worried about is if we lose that, we're going to lose that ability to fight that erosion, and we're going to lose soils and lose additional wetlands.